Let's get to that 5 spot, the Arizona Coyotes. I've got my Yotes gear on, as you guys can see. And look, they're keeping pace. Like, they're right in the race right now. And they've got 49 points, 5-4-1 in their last 10. So not a great record, but they have won a couple of games in a row. They beat Pittsburgh last night. That was a big win for them. Sick pass by Logan Cooley to Jason Zucker. I don't know if you guys saw that, but
I thought you were going to say the other pass, the own goal pass.
No, not that one. No, but but Cooley just kind of chops it with one hand on the stick, cross ice to Jason Zucker, the former Penguin, and that was quite the highlight reel there. But look, we knew that Bill Armstrong wanted this team to take a step this year, to be playing meaningful games. Certainly looks like this team is set up to do that right till the end. Things could always change between now and the deadline, but this team looks good so far, and they certainly have a chance to squeak in here. So what do we have to say about the Coyotes?
I think that they are starting to slow down. We've seen that over the last month or so, and even into December, they started to slow down. There was a time early in the season that I was catching some flack in the Boys in the Booth fantasy chat because everyone thought this team was a playoff team all of a sudden, and I certainly didn't think that, and I was getting dumped on a little bit. But they've definitely come back down to earth a little bit. I still think that there's a little bit of growing pains going on here. Going to go back to what I was saying. My real negative point about this team is the defense and the lack of a number 1 center, or a number 2 center, I think I was saying at the time as well. There's still some pains there as well. Definitely took a step in the right direction this year, and they continue to do that every year. So, two years down the road here, we're going to be talking about Arizona a lot, but you even see it in Cooley. He started out as like a point per game player. He's slowed down to like a half a point per game. And I think they're just coming back to earth a little bit. They're not going to be a playoff team. I don't think that Central gets either wild card spot, like we've said. And I think you just got to take the positives with Arizona here.
Agreed. It's encouraging that they're at least competing and they'll be playing meaningful games, Harper, like you mentioned.
Yep.
Probably all the way down the stretch. Like, coming into this season, we didn't think that they were going to be a playoff team, but we thought they might give it a push. And, so far so good for Arizona. And if you actually sort by points percentage right now, they're sitting in 4th in the Central. So that's pretty encouraging. They also have a better goal differential than Nashville, who's technically in 4th. They're actually +5, which, is again encouraging. That's what I keep coming back to. But Case, you're right, man. I was thinking the same thing. They started pretty hot and then kind of fizzled out. And I think that's a common trend you see amongst teams who were bad forever and start to become good. Like, I think you have to sort of break out of that culture of losing. And it's not easy to keep it up once you start winning games. Like, it's not easy to totally flip the script and continue winning. So I think that's, to be expected from Arizona.
And in fairness, they've been absolutely beaten up in the injuries.
Yeah.
They have been, for sure.
That too. But even thinking of a guy like Cooley, who you brought up, and this argument applies to all of the rest of the college kids in the league right now. Matthew Nyes is another guy, These players have been accustomed to playing about 40 games a season for their last 2 to 3 seasons. And now all of a sudden it's like, hey, I know you played in college last year. Well, you got to play 82 games. You got to play 3.5 games a week in the NHL against like players who are bigger and stronger than you. Like, so the physical toll on players is something that I don't think gets talked about enough. And for Cooley, you're expected to be good, but you're not expected to come in and light the world on fire. All of the conversation was mostly about Connor Bedard. And, so it's okay that he's been a half a point a game player, after starting really hot. And, it's just to be expected that there will be some growing pains with this team. But all in all, we picked them to be around a bubble playoff team, currently sitting in 4th. We picked them in 6th. It's kind of right around where we expected, at least in the same tier that we expected them to be.
I don't think Logan Cooley is going to be thinking about the guys who are calling him a power play and secondary assist merchant when he hits 1,000 points a number of years down the road. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And not much more to add on Arizona. You guys know that I like this team a lot. I like the direction that they're going in. And look, they're being realistic, and I think we're gonna see that as we get closer to the deadline on March 8th. And Bill Armstrong said before the start of the season that he said, look, I don't think we're a playoff team yet, but certainly think that we can play meaningful games down the stretch, be in it right until the bitter end, and they certainly could do that. Wanted to mention a couple of guys. Connor Ingram, who has had his ups and downs during his career and everything. He's been fantastic and has overtaken the net from Karel Vejmelka, who just really hasn't been that good this year. Ingram has been great. And Jeff Merrick, I was listening to him today, guys, and he came up with a really good point. He said, who are the real MVPs in the league? It's those goalies who make $1 million or less. You look at Ingram, he's on a 3-year deal. I think he's at 1.95 or whatever. So, almost $2 million or whatever, but he's been absolutely fantastic. And you look at other goalies around the league, a guy like Stolars, Wedgwood, even though he's kind of dipped a little bit, Alex Lyon, what he's doing in Detroit and what he did last year in Florida. Sorry, Case, who did you mention?
Harrison.
Harrison in Philly, absolutely, and he's the guy there right now and has been for most of the season. So wanted to mention Connor Ingram. He's been fantastic. Sean Durzi as well has been fantastic for this team, and just the offensive numbers and what he's been able to do. He's also in a contract year, so that's going to be interesting to see. What Arizona gives him after this year. I would think you'd have to keep him around, but Case, it's back to the point that you mentioned a few minutes ago, just the lack of having a number one defenseman, because Sean Durzi is their number one defenseman right now, you'd have to say. And in reality, he's not a number one, but again, man, Arizona does this with defensemen. They did it with Gostisbehere, bring him in, turn him around. Didn't really have to turn around Sean Durzi, but just a guy who gets a bigger opportunity with the team looking to take another step in the right direction. So I like that a lot. What were you going to say? Sorry.
He's weathered the storm better than I thought he would. When we talked about these guys in the preseason, I said, Sean Durzi's going to be coming over after playing on the second pair in LA, getting sheltered minutes, because of Doughty and Anderson, and he's going to come in and have to play a ton of minutes and be quarterback one on the PP. Well, he's handled that pretty well, and I'm pleasantly surprised with what he's done. But that being said, he's still not a number one defenseman, and this team seriously lacks that. Talking about Connor Ingram, when I put this team at 7th in my rankings, I did not expect Connor Ingram to win them so many games. So that's one of the areas I was wrong in. I think I said he's going to be a fine goalie. Well, he's been great.
I have all the love in the world for Connor Ingram. I will say, though, when I went to see him, he got absolutely lit up in Arizona against the Senators. And
they still won that game, though.
Yeah, he got pulled. That's why. Vejmelka came in, stole the show, didn't allow a single goal, and they won. So that was a tough first.
After what Ingram did, they weren't expected to win that game anymore. So Vejmelka, of course, won the game. That's what he does. He wins when he's not supposed to win.
Yeah.